So, this is Robustel's R1520 LG Universal LoRa Gateway, and we're about to tell you how this is going to streamline your IoT and is great for smart building deployments. Hey, it's Eamon with ipXchange. We're here at the ipXchange studios, joined once again by David from Robustel, who's going to be introducing us to the R1520 LG Universal LoRaWAN Gateway. So David, what do you do at Robustel?
Good question, actually. I am Global IoT Solution Architect, and I support IoT products and projects around the world for Robustel.
So, David, what makes this universal?
Good question. Years of market research from our previous generation of devices made it clear that there are some things in hardware and in software that are regularly required. We've tried to make customers' life easy and put it all into one product. So, power over Ethernet for easy location of gateways, Wi-Fi access point and client, so you can use free Wi-Fi backhaul instead of 4G potentially. With regards to 4G, it has a global cellular module, so you can deploy it just about anywhere in the world. From a frequency perspective, it will just burst into life. So really quick and easy proof of concept.
Oh, nice.
And we also have the 470 megahertz, 868, 915 megahertz, all of those options, and an option without a 4G module. So if we need to be...
Oh, okay, so you can have the slightly less universal one, but just for LoRa.
Absolutely. Yeah. So you can, with that, you can use Ethernet or Wi-Fi exclusively for backhaul, and it's no secret that one of the objectives of this product was to be very aggressive on price. So when you lose the 4G module as well, we have a very competitive proposition.
Cool. And I can see there's also some like Modbus as well on there.
Yes. So actually, although it's a LoRa gateway, I guess you could say it's an IoT gateway.
Okay. Yeah.
Because LoRa is obviously becoming very popular for wireless sensors. But for many years, many decades, Modbus has been kind of the de facto standard for wired sensors, so Modbus RTU or Modbus TCP devices. And we kind of dovetailed that together in the same box, and there seems to be some very strong interest in that concept, more than we actually expected.
Oh, that's very good. Obviously, you've designed this to help make engineers' lives a bit easier, but is there any specific reasons why you chose to go with this kind of setup with all those different physical and wireless connectivity options?
Yeah, I think we've had a software construct called Edge to Cloud for a few years now. Okay. And that's been very popular with people connecting to Modbus devices and wanting to get the data into a cloud platform, typically AWS or Azure, where they'll host their application. So we already had that history in very similar products, and as we were developing the product, just the addition of the 485 RS485 port meant that both Modbus RTU, Modbus TCP and LoRa, and with our Edge to Cloud software, you can actually take all of that data with zero programming straight into any modern cloud platform.
So you've really made universal on the hardware perspective and on the software perspective. Is there anything you'd want to expand on in terms of how the software is built up? You mentioned before we were chatting that it's kind of got Raspberry Pi Linux and then something else, then your part on top?
So there's so many angles to take, great angles to take on this, but so first of all, the Edge to Cloud software gives the ability to do to Modbus, LoRa, and other protocols that can connect in through the interfaces. The operating system itself is a new operating system for Robustel, Robust OS Pro, and it's a really clever use of our own legacy OS and Debian Linux. And in that Debian Linux environment, you can actually install any mainstream Linux applications. That includes, it's the same instruction set as a ARM Raspberry Pi. ARM-based Raspberry Pi, so anything you've sunk time and cost into, you can take a native application, you can take a containerized Docker-based application, and host it on the same hardware.
Nice. So you can get a lot going on in a very small package that can pretty much serve the whole building.
Yeah.
Cool.
So one, that gateway could be the complete IoT edge device for small to medium-sized building, or even large buildings, depending on the construction of.
Cool. So obviously this is new, so there won't be kind of case studies yet. But in terms of customer interest, what use cases do you see this being really an exciting addition to?
Well, I have to say that for me, the real success from IoT in the last 10 years is LoRaWAN. There is no question it's taking off now. And the reason is really simple. LoRaWAN can go through buildings and propagate for hundreds of meters or kilometers through solid objects. So the main business case there is the fact you don't have to run any cables anywhere. And in Western buildings, it's an expensive enterprise. So we're doing all sorts of things, huge amount around building management systems.
Okay.
So anything to do with energy. So obviously energy costs have shot up hugely.
Yes.
So there's a great desirability to measure where you're using them, where this cost is coming from, and then with those insights you can do something about it. Actually, a really nice anecdote for that is a friend stroke customer has recently deployed 1,000 thermostatic radiator valves. And these radiator valves not only give you the temperature of the radiators around the buildings, but on the downlink you can turn them down and save money. Save money in an entirely automated fashion.
Cool. Just out of interest, is that which protocol is that using? Is that
that's all LoRa?
LoRa. Cool.
Yeah, 100% LoRa.
Nice.
And it's made possible by LoRa because LoRa will penetrate through walls, and you don't need to run 1,000 cables.
Yeah. Cool. So obviously there's the hardware and there's kind of what's on board in terms of like cloud and software infrastructure. How does one manage your IoT using such a device?
So I think we can extend the universal claim to the cloud platform as well. So part of the remit with this product is obviously we want to make a good box, a good hardware, but when you need to manage these things at scale, so gateway, the network, SIM cards, you really need a good network management platform. And so while this hardware development's been taking place, there's been a major software development called Operations Console.
Okay.
We could fill a whole video on all the wonderful things.
I'm sure we could, yeah.
Of all the wonderful things that are in there. But the most important thing to say is you can see pretty much everything happening in your estate in real time. So one person or a quarter of a person, can allocate their time to just looking at one screen and seeing absolutely everything. So really a statewide management, not one gateway at a time, but managing a whole raft of devices.
Cool. And are there any little key features within that cloud management platform that you think are particularly interesting? I know you showed us kind of the locationing earlier on.
Yeah. That, to be honest, everyone seems to love a map. So
yeah. I mean, maps are hundreds, thousands of years old, and they tell our world how we want to see it. Yeah.
So all of, not just our LoRa gateways, but all of Robustel's gateway router products, they have cell-based triangulation. So within a few hundred meters, anywhere on the surface of the Earth where there's a GSM signal, when we switch one of these devices on our cloud platform, you'll see its location.
Cool.
And it's not a new thing, but you can see that people absolutely love that. And when you consider it's something you get totally free of charge with all Robustel products, it makes for a pretty compelling offer.
Nice. So if an engineer watching this wanted to test out this product before deployment, what's the best way of going about that? How do they get started with the process? So
probably just get one unit, get one sensor, and then go from there.
Cool.
Connect to a cloud platform of your choice. I think just briefly on that point, in terms of the universal nature of the product, very quickly and easily through the device interface, you can decide whether you want to use a local LoRaWAN network server, an external LoRaWAN network server like Laureate or TTI, well integrated there. If you do use the embedded LNS, which is ChirpStack, which is pretty de facto these days, not only can you take the output from ChirpStack directly, but you can also use what we mentioned earlier, the edge to cloud mode, where it's literally zero config. Your LoRa sensor data will just appear, courtesy of Robustel's edge to cloud software, alongside your Modbus data, if you like, straight into the cloud platform. And it's kind of coined the phrase for us because of that use case, IoT in a box.
So I think that's been a great introduction to Robustel's universal LoRaWAN gateway, and we've actually got a part 2 to this video, which will be, I think, the first IPX tutorial, where we're going to show how easy it is to take this out of the box and get it set up. So look forward to that, and I'd like to evaluate this through ipXchange.
Hey, yo, where my engineers at?